d'avoir bien voulu vous joindre à notre réunion thématique de cet après-midi, la 5e de notre série, qui s'intitule « Au-delà de la réponse immédiate à l'épidémie », organisée conjointement par CGLU, Metropolis et UN Habitat. Et avec pour cette édition la participation également et la collaboration du projet MC2CM, Mediterranean City to City Migration. Aujourd'hui, nous parlerons de la migration et le Covid-19 et le rôle des autorités locales et régionales. Avant de commencer, je voudrais vous donner quelques informations techniques à observer pour que notre session se déroule de la façon la plus pratique et la meilleure pour tout le monde. La première des choses, c'est que nous avons de l'interprétation en 3 langues, le français, l'anglais et l'espagnol. Et vous avez en bas de votre écran une icône qui est interprétation. Vous choisissez la langue que vous souhaitez, dans laquelle vous souhaitez parler et vous voulez entendre aussi. Nous avons une petite exception avec le maire de Lampedusa qui va nous parler en italien, mais il aura la traduction dans les autres langues. Coupez votre micro quand vous n'avez pas la parole. Et ensuite, quand vous avez la parole, activez votre vidéo et parlez clairement vers le micro. Et veuillez couper le son des notifications de votre téléphone et de votre ordinateur. Vous pouvez choisir de voir uniquement le speaker actif pour pouvoir regarder aussi sa présentation. Voilà un petit peu les considérations techniques. Je pense qu'on a pris l'habitude dans ce genre d'exercice. Les choses sont claires pour tout le monde. Juste après la séance d'ouverture, nous aurons une rapide consultation en ligne. Sur votre smartphone, allez sur menti.com, menti.com, qui est une application qui vous permet de participer à un petit sondage que nous allons organiser. Une fois que l'application est sur votre téléphone, vous tapez le code 39573, comme c'est inscrit sur l'écran à gauche de votre écran, qui vous permettra de participer à la consultation. Aujourd'hui, nous attendons une très grande participation à cette session, vu le grand nombre de demandes de prise de parole que nous avons reçues. À la première table ronde, nous avons l'honneur d'accueillir Madame Maïmouna Mod Sharif, qui est la secrétaire adjointe des Nations Unies et directrice exécutive de UN Habitat. Nous avons également Monsieur Antonio Vitorino, qui est le directeur général de l'Organisation internationale de la migration, l'OIM. Et nous avons aussi M. Michael Spindelegger, le directeur général de ICMPD, le Centre international pour le développement des politiques migratoires. Cette table ronde sera animée par notre secrétaire général, Emilia Saiz. La première table ronde, qui suivra celle de l'ouverture, sera animée par M. Jean-Pierre Elombassi, qui est secrétaire général de CGLU Afrique, avec la participation du maire de Grenoble, je pense qu'il est avec nous, la mairesse de Tunis, le maire de Lampedusa et le maire adjoint de Douala. La seconde table ronde, qui sera facilitée par Lefteris Papagiannikos, qui est l'ancien adjoint au maire d'Athènes. Nous aurons la participation du maire de Rabat, la mairesse adjointe de Quito, le maire de Sfax, ainsi que le maire adjoint de Gaziantep. Et pour terminer, un représentant de la société civile qui représente le Conseil grec pour les réfugiés. Voilà un petit peu comment se présente notre session de cet après-midi. Avant de conclure la session de cet après-midi, et si vraiment le temps nous le permet, nous essaierons, avec l'aide d'Emilia, de prendre 2 ou 3 prises de parole, si c'est possible, si vraiment le temps nous le permet. Donc, c'est vraiment une condition. Voilà, donc j'ai plus rien à dire. Je passe la parole à Emilia pour continuer ouvrir le débat et inviter nos invités à prendre la parole. Emilia, la parole est à toi.
Merci, Mohamed. Thank you for being here, colleagues. I'm going to miss this, seeing you from time to time and regularly every week in this virtual room. As I was saying in our session yesterday, it is truly becoming a community. Well, Emilia, as you know, Emilia Saiz, I am the Secretary General of United Cities and the local governments, and we are delighted to organize this learning series remember, for us, what we do here is not just one more virtual meeting simply because we cannot go to each other's cities, but it is a true collective learning experience for us all, and that should help us face the crisis, share experiences, but also make up recommendations for the aftermath, for the future. So that's what we are doing today. This unprecedented crisis is unprecedented because it's universal. We have had health crises before, very important ones, but it was never as universal as this one, affecting global north and global south. We always say is not this crisis is not discriminating, but in fact the problem is that while the virus does not discriminate, our societies do, and there are groups, invisible groups in our society that have to face this pandemic in a much more painful manner than others. We are all making sacrifices, but not all at the same level. And when we started meeting in this room and we identified some of the challenges that you, the mayors, are facing in our territories day to day, very quickly you identified dealing with migration in this crisis as one of those topics that we needed to talk about. Migrants play a very important role in our societies, a role that we hardly ever see. We only hear about them when there is a tragedy, actually, while we are all migrants in a way. And for us, they are our neighbors, they are part of our communities, but indeed they are fulfilling those roles and doing those jobs that many times we don't think about. Well, this crisis is certainly changing that. And it's challenging the way we look at the long term as well. And those are some of the things that we would like to see discussed here with you today, based on real experience, on what you are going through, not in the theory of what we would like to promote. And then, yes, then we will have the time to actually explore recommendations and what we will need to change. But let us share the experiences and a bit of the dreams of what we would like to keep after this crisis. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to give the floor to the Executive Director of UN Habitat and our dear friend, Maimouna Sharif. She's also Undersecretary General for the UN, and she has been joining us since the very beginning. She was reminding me it's already 1 month that we are doing this exercise. Maimouna, the floor is yours. Some vision on how to face this strategy with migrants.
Thank you very much, colleague Amelia. Thank you very much, city leaders, ladies and gentlemen, and also dear Antonio, friends, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you from Nairobi. I would like to make very fast 5 points. One is cities are engine of growth. Cities are a major destination for migrants. So here they hope to find increased livelihood opportunities, safety, and access to basic and urban services. They contribute to our national and urban economies. As you say, by 2050, 2/3 of the population will live in cities, and these also include a migrant. As you mentioned it correctly, Amelia, I think all of us are migrant in some one or other ways. So migrant work formally or informally in all sectors. Cities benefit from an increased labor force and on construction side, in trade, tourism, in food production and processing, in the hospitality sector. So legal migrant now at the moment as doctors, nurses, in other jobs that keep health care today running in this challenging world, their contribution become very more acknowledged now. If they opt or need to return to their places of origin, we become more aware of their often crucial roles in our communities and also economy. Second, Migrant is also source of labor and also employment, as you put it correctly, Amelia. But migrants are also the first to lose their job. Migrant, and especially recently, the forcibly displaced people are among the most vulnerable of our society. Our previous learning session on adequate housing and safe mobility recognized our concerns for migrant, refugee, and the IDPs. My third point is that UN Habitat and together with other UN agencies, we are also a central concerns to our mission, and in our new strategic plan and our new flagship program recognize the challenges and benefit of migrants. In Abu Dhabi recently in WOOF 10, we launched our flagship program on inclusive cities, enhancing the positive impact of urban migration. UN Habitat collaborate together with UCLG and International Center for Migration Policy Development in the Mediterranean City-to-City Migration Project, we started in 2015 and now in the second phase. So the project works towards improving migration governance in the city level, including in the urban planning processes. We also engage with IOM and UNHCR in the joint project Cities of Solidarity in 4 Latin America cities. This joint project supports local authorities, local government to endeavor inclusive urban societies and ensure that economic, social, and cultural contribution of all matters, also of refugee and migrant. Our collaboration with IOM is very strong on global, regional, and country level. So UN Habitat also actively contributes to the UN Migration Network. We work with the national and the local government and through UNHCR where so necessary, including in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kenya, Lebanon, Somalia, to ensure that both migrant and host community benefit from action taken on the ground. And we engage in the joint project called Cities of Solidarity with IOM and UNHCR in 4 Latin America's cities. The fourth, the impact of COVID-19 to the migrant. Faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, many local authorities across the world have already become cities of solidarity. They reacted very fast with innovative initiatives in support of migrants and displaced communities. Many actions fast-track access to basic services. Cities are quick in offering additional social services to support for children of migrant communities. Cities were first in line to produce information on the COVID-19 in different languages. They enhanced the dialogue with vulnerable people in both host and migrant communities. They acted against rumors and fake news blaming specific population groups. They are also saying that migrant communities are also actively contribute to joint effort on the ground with local authorities and cities, civil society organizations. And UN Habitat together with UNHCR and other and the local government joined in the Kakuma, Kenya with the migration at the refugee, 180,000 refugees in Kakuma and Colombia, giving access to water, sanitation and wash, looking at the spatial planning and allocation of social distancing and technical advisory. Our work in Somalia is also together with the EU, and our work in Iraq and our work in Syria is to be a few of the areas. So my last point is that the way forward. What is the way forward? We have to work together to achieve more. It's a teamwork. TEAM, together everyone achieve more. We cannot do it alone. So with cities and local government, we must now use the opportunity to change the narrative on migrants. While acknowledging their vulnerabilities, on the other hand, we must make sure that the contribution and the stereotypes are not encouraged during this crisis. Share stories on positive contribution on migrants in our cities, foster inclusive communities, increase social cohesion between migrant and host communities. We talk about the whole of community, whole of society, whole of government approaches in planning and action during this crisis and beyond the outbreak. We need to start right now. We need to ensure that inclusion reaches informal settlement, under-serviced urban area, crime or camp-like environment, and omit segregation by legal status. Urban migrant refugee, IDPs communities, as well as vulnerable host population need to be included in response to the recovery plans. They have an immense capacity to self-organize, identify their needs, and tailor innovative low-cost solutions. We need to stay home to stop the spread of COVID-19. This is what we do today. However, we need solidarity if we want to rebuild prosperity. We also need to do this today. We cannot defer that to tomorrow. We need to leverage our solidarity with migrants and their contribution if we want to succeed. With UCLG and with IOM, with all of you friends, we are ready to listen to you, to be inspired by you, and to support you. Thank you very much and for your attention. I'm here to be together with you. Thank you. Over to you, Amelia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director. We know by now that you are not the type that comes and goes. You come and stay, and we truly appreciate it, because I think it's really helping us bring the knowledge and the strategy forward together. It's a process of co-creation. You said we need to change the narrative. I think we have been changing the narrative for a long time, and I would like to commend the work that the International Organization on Migration has done in that sense, with very impressive campaigns, but also very important data that we have been able to share with our members around the world. And I think that now we need to go beyond the narrative, and we need to actually take the opportunity to make the changes also permanent. There are measures that we need to take during this crisis that cannot be temporary. And the housing of migrants is one of those measures that are extremely important. But also the enhanced coordination between the different spheres of government will be critical. I hope the Director General for our partnership is here, is with us. The next speaker, Michael.
Yes, he's there.
Yes. So
yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, excellent! I see you now. Very good to have you with us. A very important partner for us. I would dare say that without your push, we wouldn't be where we are. Migration is a very tough topic for a global network such as United Cities and local governments. And while at national level and at regional level there have been long-standing efforts to address this issue, the global approach was complex because of the very different realities. But I think together we have managed to start addressing this issue, starting from the Mediterranean and expanding on. So it's truly a pleasure to have you here with us as co-organizer of this session, as co-convener. The floor is yours, dear friend.
Thank you so much, Emilia, and dear colleagues. I hope you can hear me. I think this is also an experience to talk in this way together. But of course, what I really would like to say is I appreciate very much to talk about this issue. I think it's one of the most important issues we have at the moment. And when I remember when we have been together in November in Durban, nobody could imagine what is going on now and what kind of problems we are creating. And if we have the connects to migration, I think, of course, it's most interesting to think about this because there are some disadvantages and risks, but also some advantages in this new situation. So what we can say from our point of view is that since Second World War, no other event has had such far-reaching consequences on human mobility. Because if you have a look to our globalized world, at the moment, of course, everything is shut down and we cannot imagine what is going on. So we think health and immunity of travelers can be expected to become a central part of the security profile of travelers and migrants alike. At the World Congress last November, I praised the role of cities as key actors in migration and the need to involve and fully acknowledge local authorities as key players in migration governance. Well, in today's context, this becomes as paramount as ever. If managing global mobility was already a difficult task, this is only due to become more challenging and will require a coherent and coordinated approach at all levels. Perhaps this crisis will act as a catalyst to address shortcomings in governance systems, such as the need to fully involve cities in migration policy making, both at regional and national level. We have a difficult road ahead to help steer our economies and societies through highly challenging times. At ICMPD, we have started a process of reflection to envisage post-crisis scenarios and preparedness, drawing on experience and guidelines developed in the framework of the Migrants in Countries in Crisis initiatives, implemented alongside our friends of IOM. We believe that the first priority is to ensure the rights and safety of both migrants and societies, and to develop evidence-based new approaches within a context of international cooperation and dialogue. Predictability and especially mutual trust are essentials in this time and of high uncertainty. As long as individual mobility is so much restricted, states need to put in place mechanisms that permit the joint management of organized mobility between them in a reasonable and transparent way. This includes agreements on the actual modalities of transport, sectors, working conditions, and health protection, but also on quarantine measures, transportation costs, medical costs, and guaranteed returns, for example, for the workers participating in labor mobility schemes. Cities' input to this process is ever so critical. It is particularly worth noting to look at the millions of migrants who are in irregular and often hidden situations. They are the first affected by a recession and will likely lose their jobs, and of course, the informal labor market is under a special pressure. Even when their jobs are guaranteed, shifting these jobs from the informal to the formal labor market will be a huge task, requiring both control and proactive labor migration policies. We need to move beyond the lens of vulnerability to see the asset migrants themselves represent in general and in particular during this current crisis. In some instances, as it has been the case in Portugal, we are witnessing action that propel temporary regularization and long-term residency rights, because those already in host countries are now a premium resource, not only for reasons of public health, but also to sustain food security and exports. The corona crisis shows that many of those who arrived at Europe's borders in the 2015 refugee crisis and who faced an uncertain future are now key to ensuring that European countries find their way through this epidemiological crisis. For many years, critics have bemoaned that there are no global strategies for labor migration. Now there might be no other solution than devising strategies which follow the following four principles. First, they must cater for economic needs just as much as for public health priorities. Second, they must safeguard migrant workers' rights and well-being. Third, they must combine market and control instruments. And fourth, they must lift public-private partnerships and international cooperation to a completely new level. The good news is that for all these needs, there is a sufficient know-how and expertise, which seems to be steadily growing, especially during the COVID-19 containment. Equally important, They carry the positive message that risks is manageable, economies can be maintained, and states and cities can stay active in times of serious crisis. In this regard, migrants play a critical role. Migrants deserve particular attention in terms of their specific protection needs, but more importantly, they deserve particular attention, recognition, and visibility in terms of what they bring to our communities and societies in finding our way out of this crisis. So this is just a few thoughts from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we can discuss more in this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these very important points. I think there is one that we really haven't touched upon, but that is very important for our constituency gathering here today, and that is also the need for the change of legal frameworks. At the end of the day, if we don't change some of the legal frameworks, some of the goodwill work that cities and territories around the world are doing while welcoming migrants are not going to be feasible. So we need to work on that as well. And I hope that some of the presentations will also put that challenge on the table, which is one that is also affecting how we face the COVID crisis.